So, I guess I should preface this by saying that I have sometimes when I think of a title or I think it's witty, I have to go and look it up and see if I've done a stream with the same title before. And I turns out I had about 5 months ago. Um, Back in I think it was either September, or October, and I'll go on. I know it was at some point around like late last year, like the last 3 or 4 months. I wrote or I began writing a script for a movie, and that script currently has supposed to be an hour and a half long. It's got 71 pages. Um, and I get where some of the stuff I discuss might just sound mundane, like I write some all the time, but I'd never written a movie before. The first time I ever tried to do this was when I was in eighth grade, and I wrote like 2 pages and then just walked away from it. So this was being able to write that much, even if I still would not consider it finished. What I mean by that is I haven't the beginning, the middle part, the end, but I would like a few more pages on top of it because I'm sure we can round out another 10 minutes with all the little different editing and whatnot. Um, but I still want to make sure that I have enough material for just to be on the safe side. Um, there was a part of me when I started to realize that I had actually written this thing, if not close to completion, damn near, that was, I don't want to say proud, but gratified. Because when you have, like, so often I'll talk about how it sucks you can't make something because of VAs or whatever, like other people and their intervention or their lack of intervention, them not doing something that they're supposed to, according to what they said they would do. But in the case of writer's block, it seems like it's this thing that just happens every now and again, and I'm left with very few tools to even be able to do anything against it. There was a solid portion of the time when I was writing this where I only had maybe 10 or 12 pages, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to do 30," and I just every day would get up and maybe write like two. It was really tough, and it's so strange how writing works, like just in terms of there are some days where I can write 12 pages or 13 or 4, and then other days where I can sit there and just keep thinking and I'll only be able to write maybe one or two. So, there was when you overcome a lot of the personal frustration of not being able to make something uh, because of just stuff with you, it's more gratifying that way. But of course, it wouldn't be a saga unless there was some kind of thing where another person was messing stuff up. So I've had this situation for over a year now where it really feels like I'm never home alone. Which, if you're a voice actor, because we've seen people have uploaded this before on YouTube, it is a nightmare to try and record. Like if I do a news video, whatever, most of the time, sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. But like to try and record lines for something, right? Sometimes you have to scream. Sometimes you have to raise your voice. It is hell on earth to try doing that when someone else is here and they're here all every day, all day, and I just. I was just thinking to myself, it's like there's always something to mess up what you're trying to do. Isn't it funny? If you try to write something, you get writer's block. If you finish writing it and try to record it, there's a person that's at your home or around you every single damn day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday too. If you are trying to like edit it, your computer starts acting up or doesn't have enough space or some other crap, it's like just it's really irritating. There's always something that botches what you're trying to do. Which kind of reminds me of to deal with the show. So I do the show a lot differently than I used to, where I'll just pick like a random episode and like for maybe a month just edit different parts of it. Like the last one I put out was like 47. I'm like, oh, I'm doing pieces of 55 or some one of the other ones. And it's so interesting because I remember, in May of last year when that voice actor I worked with for years just quit on me right after months of saying they would record this thing, the usual spiel. It was like a stab to the gut because when you feel like you've built up trust with the person, right? A correspondence that's going on for multiple years now, and every time that person in the past has said they would do something, even if they didn't do it as quickly as you would like, they still did it anyway. So to have that person in their final contribution to the thing you've been making for over half a decade now, um, not only not do what they said they would do, but also waste your time for multiple months saying that they would do this and being unresponsive all the 9 yards. That's the kind of stuff that really just makes you just completely despise somebody. Like I always say that a lot of this stuff parallels other issues. Imagine you're making a movie. Let's say it's live action, right? No cartoon or anything. You have actors, whatnot, and I'm gonna play one of the lead roles. I've got about maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 scenes in this thing, and shooting starts in let's say a month, right? I know this comparison isn't that great, but just an example. And I keep telling you, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to show up and start filming my scenes. I'm getting ready to start filming my scenes. And then what happens? Shooting starts, you're not there. And you keep saying, oh, I'm on my way, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. And then after we shoot every single, because this is done with a lot of movies where if they have an actor that's unavailable, they'll shoot all the other stuff that doesn't have them in it. I know this was done with Black Panther 2 to some extent, where after Letitia Wright got in trouble or was like not in the, she got in some kind of injury during some stunt work. They filmed scenes that she wasn't in advance or like before on top of the schedule just to keep things going smoothly or attempting to go smoothly. So anyways, after you film all the scenes not in, only then do I say, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to drop out of your movie. I wish you best of luck, and I'll see if I can find somebody else. You're like, what the hell, douchebag? You told me you would do this. You gassed me up to believe in something that you were going to do, and then when you don't do it, you think an apology makes up for it. So look, that example I gave wasn't the best, but it's the same kind of thing of someone tells you they'll do something and then they don't do it, and then for some reason you're expected to not get pissed. But the movie thing is so sad because I really believe in, and I when I write scripts, I always believe in the story. But it was just such a like gratifying thing to just think about all those different times I tried to write it, and then I finally wrote most of it. And was like, oh, this is great. Um, but then you can't actually make it. Well, one, you can't even record for it because of the situation over here. So it's always something that botches what you're trying to do. It's always a different pest. Oh man, online is just so irritating. What else am I gonna say? There's some other thing that sucks. Oh yeah, the reason I did 2 matches with DVD this week that I thought were pretty decent. And I was thinking of making that the 13th Mobile Adventures video, but one of the main reasons I soured on that was because I just wasn't seeing enough support. Like, to sit here, I guess this goes back to the title. I could, if I wanted to, just post those matches with no audio, no voiceover, and just as they are, right? But the point of me giving the voiceover is because I have the expectation that you're not watching this because I'm this amazing player who is so dynamic in their gameplay and I'm doing things you've never seen. But no, you're watching it because if you like my other stuff, you would also, like to see what I'm playing or otherwise what I think of when I'm playing. So if I were to not have my voice in it, I would feel as if it would just be any generic person playing the game. Um, it's just my way of spicing things up a little bit, because there are a lot of people that play the one on the main game, the one on the computer and on Xbox. I don't know if it's Xbox or on console, or the console and PC, and no, they put their voice on that. So I just feel like if I didn't have that there would be no point in even making those. Which I already kind of feel that way a little bit anyway because of just the lack of support that you get. I remember I would always criticize subs for that. This guy was like, "It's the algorithm. It's the algorithm." I'm like, I don't dispute that a lot of times certain because I've said before I've looked up my own stuff on here and I've had a hard time finding unless I put my name in or some other like very specific thing. Like I can put in the title of certain videos and they won't even appear, or if they do, it's like all the way up to just weird stuff, right? So even if I were to concede that's the case sometimes, the problem with saying that as a subscriber is that if you're subscribed to someone, and we do know, and I know that YouTube also unsubscribes people from channels as well. But if you're subscribed to someone, you can go in your subscriptions usually and check out what they've made. Like my subscription box always shows me what all the different people I'm sub to have made. Um, like I just don't believe that a person who really wants to be there and watch someone is like a lot of times, if there's a channel I like, I'll go and watch some of their videos on one day. Maybe I don't see them every day, but like I mean, hell, like I always talk about a lot of news channels are hard as hell to keep up with regularly because they'll pump out 6, 7, 8 videos in a day. And these aren't even like if I do 1 3-minute video a day or 2 3-minute videos a day, that's like what 6 minutes. They'll put up like um 8 or 9-minute videos on top of each other. So, in that way I'm sympathetic, but when I feel like I don't have as long and as much content as these other people do, like that's a fact. So, it's just harder for me to really believe in that type of stuff. To just like sit there and go, oh yes, it makes sense that people won't write a comment for like 4, 5, 6 months. It's like, yeah, totally. I just want to give you an example. I'll go to somebody I'm sub to, just to like make my point about people like having a bunch of stuff that they're doing. Where is it? Who's a good example? Let me use secular talk for just as an example. Okay, so in the last 24 hours, so just this last day, he's put out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos in less than 24 hours. Out of those 7 videos, the first one I see is 23 minutes long. The second one is 4 minutes long. That's only 2 videos, almost 30 minutes. The next one is 16 minutes long, then 11 minutes, then another 11, then 14, 12. So every single one of these videos that's been put out in the last 24 hours is at least 10 minutes apiece. Actually, except for one of them. So all of them except one are over 10 minutes long. So that's about an hour, I'd say, of content from him. And remember, that's just an hour for today. Who knows how long the stuff he puts out tomorrow is going to be. But I'm just saying that, I'm more sympathetic when, like I guess when I know that person can still get thousands of views, right? And they're pumping out all that stuff every day. And then I put out like a little 3-minute video every day or every, whatever. Like, I don't know. I think it's BS, but it is what it is. It's the algorithm. Like, man, the algorithm doesn't stop you from watching people that you want to watch. Give me a break. People always have some boogeyman they can use to throw in the way of something. Oh no, I'm still debating what the first edited video will be. I might just do obviously it'll be something romance related, but I might I've got like two or three different topics I'm like they're like circling around, and the problem is one of them. I really like the title and the idea, but just the padding of it. Like, how do you make this longer than 5 minutes is the issue. Because I said before, I think I'm mostly done with making just a video about a specific crazy brawl. Like that thing in October with the one that sat in that call and had that um, explicit conversation with me. That was really stupid on her part. And I said before that I think it's really nuts that you would sit there and talk to somebody like that, that you're not, you're going to basically push away after this call that lasted for hours, by the way. Uh, but outside of that, you don't really like most of the weird stuff of chicks on Discord is usually just them unfriending you out of nowhere, them not responding to you for like weeks or months. Like the weird stuff only goes so far as just like what I'm saying is the thing in October was a specific rare and very bizarre thing because I don't usually just have chicks sitting up in calls talking that way to me. You know, gassing you up to believe they like you back, and then to no avail. I still think that is insane. Like having people online act like chicks are these darling angels that they just want to have a partner, and then you're like, well, if you heard what she said in that call, I mean, I'll never understand how you'll sit here and say you want to have relations with someone, but then you know you won't go on a date with them. I think that is insane. Like you won't sit across from somebody at a restaurant for an hour or sit at a movie theater with someone for 2 hours, but you'll risk getting a lifelong STD from them. Man, chicks are just like I don't even know where do they just like leave their brains at a train station and just what sense does that even make? The only thing that's like really and it's kind of like an offshoot of so like I mentioned the duality of the two chicks where you had the one that had the server and you go in a VC with her and she wouldn't say anything to you, and then the one that like got mad because I didn't answer some personal question that she asked me. It's so interesting how they both kind of remind me of the one that was on I think it was the start of last year. I made a video right about what was it called? It was like, why do women with boyfriends like talking to me? And the thesis of that video is that when you have people who tell you that you are lacking or like not worthy of being with a woman, it's like, okay, well then if you're so beneath them, why are they speaking to you in spite of already being with a man? It's like it's just this really bizarre contradiction. But it was funny because that I remember that chick was weird too because you know it was the same kind of tactic. They don't mention that they're with someone. They always like keep that hush hush so they can like trick you into thinking they're single. And then they ask you like, are they make some request that is not in line with someone who is just talking to you, like her asking me for a picture of myself. I was like, why do you need to see what I look like if we're just discussing movies? Like, this is weird. But it was funny how like that one is like the prequel to this other trash from this year. No, chicks are so irritating that you can't even have platonic interactions with them. Like I haven't asked a single one of these chicks out in I think at least 2 years because like what's the point? They just say no anyway. But like Now even when you speak to them, they start doing all this erotic subtext crap that ultimately is meant to go nowhere, just trying to waste your time. And it's gotten so bad that even when you just talk to them in a platonic way, it's annoying. It's undesirable. God, they really just sit there and like look for all these backdoor strategies to get men to talk to them. Like I remember that one chick on Reddit that had a boyfriend and was like on the R for R female for male tab. And I'm like, you realize how insane you look or how insane it just like the composition of this is. You are someone who is supposedly, let's take her word for it, in a romantic relationship with a man. So you're going to go on a tab that is where women seek romantic relationships with men. And then she's going to talk about, oh, I get along better with men. Yeah, always some stupid excuse. We all know the reason for it. Just want attention, and you want to appear single, right? So you go into this thing that like it's the equivalent of me being on like eHarmony or something, and I meet some woman in real life, and I'm like, oh, how are you doing? I'm so interested in you. By the way, I have a fiance. It's like it's weird. Yeah, but that's why it reached a new level of mental illness on the chick's part because if you're acting this way around men that you supposedly are not even interested in, I just think something's wrong with you. Like why do you need to see the picture of a guy that you're not with, who you apparently are not attracted to anyway? Why do you need to know all these personal things about this man that you won't even let hear your voice? Like it just there's it's such a interesting dichotomy how like and that goes back to like the so much effort for so little reward title of stream. It's like you're supposed to give out and do all this different stuff to appease them, and what do you get in return for it? A bimbo that pretends to be interested in you but isn't. Like I don't understand. That's why I ultimately left the server of the one that every time you get in the call with her, she sits there and has a what do you call it? Playing the I'm telling you, out of all the people I've ever spoken to, this is the only one I've ever seen where every single time you get in a call with this bastard, she's playing some stupid game on her computer. Like I'm serious. I've met people who when they like they'll play a game when they're in a call with someone sometimes, but it's never every single time. And with her, it's literally like I guess the way I look at it is this: if you're in a call with one other person or two other people, I think it's very obvious they want to, and like they're not playing the game as well. They want to speak to you. So if you make it to where they can't even directly interact with you because you're doing this every single time you get in a call with them, then the hell with it. That's pretty much what I did. I just said this is going nowhere. Like I'm not about to sit here and just keep putting up with this. That's another thing we need to discuss. Like, the people expect you to talk to chicks forever for nothing. Like, oh yes, this woman that's gonna reject you, talk to her for 10 months or 11 or 12. I wish somebody would explain like why you're supposed to just speak to them indefinitely. Like what entitles them to like all of this time on your part? Like why do you have to talk to someone who doesn't like you for 6 months or even longer, Or hell, just a month period. I mean, the thing is, I always say that like I could somewhat understand where a person would believe that they need to I guess speak with someone multiple times to feel comfortable enough for them to go on it. But the problem with that is again, if you know how men think, you know that like a man doesn't have to sit there and talk to some woman for months to figure out if he likes her back or if he would go on a date with her. Usually you'll go off on a date with someone just because you like the way they look. Like you don't need this months long preamble or prologue to do something like that. It's so stupid. That's why I said chicks have like their brains are just mush. some of the stuff they expect you to do and put up with, you know? Do I want to add any of the I don't know, I'm just tired of them. They're just so irritating. Mm. They do stuff doesn't make any sense. That's why I was saying that like one of the other issues was the positivity punks, the people that want you to believe in the magic chick and um what's that thing where they're like, oh, eventually this woman will come along and she'll be attracted to you and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, the reason I don't believe that is because of circumstantial evidence. So if I can prove that I've had a woman agree to date me and then, after she agrees to this, she's begging you for money every day, revealing her true colors of being a gold digger. If I can prove that I've had one ask me on a date and then backpedal, right? Um, like if you can prove that they've made various supposed romantic interest overtures just for it to go nowhere, why should you take what they have to say seriously ever again? Like I no one's been able to explain to me why those past examples of it seeming like it was finally over and then it turns out they're full of crap shouldn't be the basis for why I no longer believe anything they have to say. No one can explain why you should not remember the screwed up things that they promised and said they would do and then didn't do as evidence for why this is going to stay the same, which it has been for multiple years now. They can never explain it. And I find that really interesting because it shows you how there's this one group of people. It's a pretty big group of people, millions of them, right? Just because they have this triangle, all of these people just rush out to defend them, even when it makes no sense. Even when they as a collective should be held accountable. Should go, hey, look, this man is tired of chicks. They lie. They've gassed him up. They've told him all kind of stuff, and it's gone nowhere. So he's just really sick of them. No one ever allows you that type of understanding. Like, even if you don't agree with something, just like I get it, they actually don't, because I would never say I understand something and then try to berate a person for, being done with it. Well, they say the same thing, but I mean, look at the evidence. Do you see groups of chicks talking about how hard it is to get a date with a man? Do you see chicks writing manifestos and being told they're gonna shoot up a school or that they're too ugly or any? No, you don't. So they don't get one fifth of the harassment and expected endurance that men have to have in order to just get the slightest accommodations from somebody with a vagina. You just don't see it reflected by the other side, because men don't do this stuff to chicks. Every time I've heard of someone speaking to a person for weeks and months and then not being interested in them romantically, it's always the woman doing that to the man. It's never the other way around. Because men know what they want. They don't sit there and talk to chicks they're not attracted to. Like what a joke. That's why it's always funny when people try to do the false equivalency. Believe me, they do. Yeah, I'd sooner believe in Bigfoot than that. I don't see a single group of chicks online talking about how hard it is to get a date from a man. That's all you need to know about how difficult it is for one side over the other. Total garbage. You remind me of that chick that came on here talking about, yes, women have to do things to look good for men as well. They have to wear high heels and makeup. And then I proved that I went to multiple schools where both of those things were banned, and there were still chicks with boyfriends. It's like, nice try. So every time I hear that false equivalency stuff, I laugh. But people like doing that. They like to convince you that it's all equal. Like I saw there was some guy that was pretending to be a chick. You know, he was doing his it was the weirdest thing. It's like you came back on on the same account with a different name and some stolen picture from a woman to, like, I guess I don't know what the point of that was. Um, but it was funny that that he was like, "Oh yeah, it's bad for both sides." I'm like, "Yeah, I believe that." Yes, and my best friend, he can defecate gold bricks. I'll believe that before I believe this Facebook group filled with all of these chicks who can't get a date. Oh man, and that's good for some comedy though, because we did have a pilot about that one. There was some kind of like proposal for a Twilight Zone series revival where they have an episode where it's like, what if things were reversed and it was men that could take their shirt off and get a whole bunch of a whole bunch of chicks donating to all these different websites. Of course, some women do tend to say the same about men, but the overwhelming vast majority of women do not complain about not getting a date compared to men. Listen, Megumi, the difference between when men complain about chicks and when chicks complain about men is that a lot of men will complain about how hard it is to get a date. A lot of chicks will complain about actually being in a relationship with someone. Oh, this man didn't do this. Oh, he didn't do that. Like, it's not the same. One side can't even get the damn door open. The other one gets to go in there and be with someone and be with multiple people, in fact. So if he, that's why I told him I don't believe that it is difficult for chicks in general to get a date with a man. I will never believe that because there are plenty of chicks I sure as hell do not think are attractive and they still end up with somebody. Don't think they're pretty. I don't think they have any like personality traits I would find appeal, and they still always at every leisure, which is why I said I have never seen someone call chicks femcells because there's no such damn thing as a bunch of broads sitting together and congregating about how hard it is to get a date with a man year after year. It doesn't exist. It's like, sure, let's pretend that there are some that have this issue. It sure as hell isn't enough of it for it to be a group. No, that's why I said it's false equivalence BS. Like, don't come to me and tell me that it's the same thing. Are men do no, they don't. God, like, why do you think they're talking about sex bots? Do you think they're talking about making those for chicks? No, they're making them for men because it's so damn hard to get a regular woman to just go on a date. Not vice versa. Like, I don't know where people got this idea in their head that things are equal. What a joke. Megumi says women are mainly the one who get to have a progressing love life in some way versus a guy who is considered lucky to even have at least one chick be interested in him. And remember, not only that, but he's also expected. See, I was going to do this video, Megumi, called "How Men Are Set Up to Fail." Yeah, I believe that. Anyways, I was gonna make this video called "How Men Are Set Up to Fail," and it talks about how a man is told to a man is told to go out and approach women, right? Because like that's supposed to be the thing that supposedly increases chance of ending up with someone. Because everybody knows that chicks don't approach men, even the ones they find attractive. But then chicks also have been recorded. We have proof of them saying that they're not interested in like being approached, like they get tired of being approached by all these different men, all the attention, whatever. So a man is instructed to do something that the same group of people he's doing this for, they're annoyed by. And then when he gets rejected over and over, he's made out to be the one that caused this to happen by supposedly lacking in some way, even though they're doing the exact same thing to so many goddamn men that there's entire groups about this topic. So you see how he's set up to fail. He's told to do this thing that's gonna piss off chicks and have them turn like say, no, I'm not interested in you. And then he's the only one who ends up screwed over. It's not equal, no doubt. Then why did you say women say the same thing about men? Believe me, they do. And you have this whole Facebook group of chicks who are complaining about they can't get a date. No, that false equivalency stuff is always hilarious. Like people really have convinced themselves it's equal or it's like anywhere near the same. What a joke. Oh, thanks, Megumi. I'm tied between like I want to do another one on the hookers, like a remake of that where like because that was a stream and people keep writing weird comments. So I want to do an actual edited video just breaking down why it makes a lot of sense to me to just if you want a date or to have intercourse to just pay a hooker to do instead of talking to somebody for 10 or 11 or 12 months or 4 years and a crazy thing like that. So those two are like the main contenders for the next edited video. Just because I know women who complain about getting dates, it doesn't mean that it's equal. But you're presenting it that way. You didn't say, oh, there are some chicks that have this issue. Like, sure, I'll believe that there's a tiny slither of them that have this issue, but overwhelmingly, I don't see it. It's always the man that has it. Oh, by the way, Megumi, there was a guy that we're the hunter. We're the hunters. We have to do all the work. Yeah, and then you're surprised. People are surprised when men don't feel like putting up with that with all of the rewards of the work, which is getting rejected, being accused of lacking in some way by other men, being slandered by other men, and then being expected to do the whole thing all over again. They're surprised when you don't want to repeat that process over until the end of time. Oh, Megumi, there was a guy that was on one of my streams about maybe the ends don't justify the means. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Hell, I would say it's insane that you even have to talk to 20 chicks to get a date, let alone 60 or 100. Like, what the hell? Remember, chicks they're all different from each other. They're not all the same. That's why it takes multiple years to find one, maybe, that even wants to go on a date with you because they're all so different from each other. Yeah. In that way to keep the conversation going. Anyways, Megumi, there was a guy that came on one of my streams like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. You were in the stream. I don't know if you remember who he was, but he brought up some guy or some set of guys that talk about chicks, and I was like, look, I don't like the free advertising. We don't have to sit here and promote other people on my channel. So he came in the comment section of my video like about a few days after that and was like, you I thought you were cool from your videos, but you acted all high and mighty, and I was saying I was surprised you know who they were because you make content about them, about romance. And then it was really funny because it's like, so because I talk about something, I'm supposed to know who most or not if everyone else is that talks about the same thing. But also like I'm high and mighty because I don't want you to promote people who I don't even know who they are on my channel. Like, all right. He deleted his own comment, by the way. I was gonna respond to it in the stream. I was like, nah. He got rid of it too quick. It was like a whole crybaby paragraph. I was so mistreated. It's like, all right, go watch somebody else. I won't lose any sleep. I won't be upset. I won't be sad. Now, that false equivalency stuff just needs to die. Like, so many people love doing that. I remember I saw this one comment where this guy, and he was the biggest clown at any of them. He was like, if a woman has armpit hair, a man will probably prefer it. It's like, dude, I've never seen a single guy say, oh yes, this woman is hot and very attractive, but she has hair under her arm, so I will not date her. I've never seen it. Such a simpleton. I think I do remember that weird person. He wrote like a whole paragraph and I was gonna respond to it. He got rid of it. He's lucky I didn't have my screenshots ready. So that's why we do the screenshots. It's like these people come and write crazy stuff, and they think if they press a button, it's gone. Like no, we want people to remember so it can linger and fester. Well, we're in the age of fake alpha male types and simps. Well, look, we've already been over this before. Most of the guys that come on here in these comment sections who are like blabbing about how, oh, do this, do that, this, the other, almost none of them show what they look like. And not a single one of them has ever proven that they're with a woman. So I don't like that's already not even that big of an issue. The problem here is really about having a group of people that have this weird immunity to criticism. Like if you say, "Hey, look, this woman told me she would do this, she didn't do it." Somebody instead of saying that's screwed up, she led you on, she wasted your time. You have a right to be upset. They'll say, "Maybe you did this, maybe you did that." So when you have people like that, you're not going to have a decent dialogue that gets to the meat of the issue. I tell you, when I saw that one coworker at that new job, and I found out she had a kid, I just bowed my head in shame. I was just like this because even though I am someone who believes that like it's wrong for one person to decide if somebody's attractive or not, I swear every time I looked at her after, I was like, what what did this guy must have been on his last leg to be with her. Yeah, there's no point covering conversing with someone who is like that. It goes nowhere. Man, I really do. Sometimes I do want to break my rules. Like if you saw what she looked like and you found out that she had a kid, you would really know that why I think people saying that chicks have a hard time getting a date is a joke. Like overweight, built like a refrigerator. Um, like I said, man, like I don't get it. And a lot of people who are overweight have like a lot of chicks have, I would say, attractive faces. I don't think hers is attractive at all. Like I was just astonished at how it really does seem like if you have a vagina, you can just always have someone interested in you. And the thing is, because somebody would say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite because you're demeaning this person." It's like, no, 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 because I'm not saying this about them. I'm not putting up their picture. I'm not going to their page and calling them ugly like they do with me. I'm just saying that I find it hard to believe that if I were to show her picture to other men, they would say, "Oh yes, how she's so attractive." Like you could tell, it was just a guy that was on his last leg. It really doesn't surprise me. A lot of chicks, however, how they look like, they seem to always have someone seriously. Dude, I know a chick who is overweight, does not own their own place, right? Because they always like try to make fun of somebody for not having their own house, whatever, like whatever. And it's like somehow they're considered high value or whatever that stupid term is. Like, and it really befuddles me because I'm like, this person is not anywhere near. Like, I guess imagine the duality of being a man and like you're not overweight, but you're not, I guess physically fit. You're just an average person because most people are not, don't exercise. Like, oh, you need to go to the gym, skinny person. Oh, but this woman that's overweight, oh yeah, she's gonna have 3 or 4 different boyfriends within the next 5 years, or even more guys hitting on her. But totally, you should do all this stuff just to maybe get one woman to be interested in you don't get where there's something, and why I said that things are nowhere near being fair, and how it's like a borderline just complete 360 turn in terms of standards. Like how do you tell a man who's not overweight to go to the gym, but a woman who looks like Snorlax, oh, don't it yeah, she can be how she is and she has all these different guys interested in her, but yeah, totally believe us when we bring up weight having something to do with if people find you attractive or not. Like it's really nuts. Megumi says, I saw this really obese chick walking together with their child with this skinny guy on the other day, and she didn't look good looking in any conceivable way. Well, I told you, me and my friend had a woman's Facebook picture of her wedding where we both would laugh at how she was overweight and the guy was skinny. And we were like, you know, I I don't understand what he finds attractive. But again, this is not really about getting mad that people who are not skinny are getting a date. It is the blatant hypocrisy. It's the double standard. It's the belief that if you have a vagina, you can always find someone who finds you attractive, no matter what you look like. Like it's really depressing. And you know what they'll do, right? Oh, your standards are too high. The person that found that asked out all these different chicks, their standards are too high, but not the chicks that turn down every damn bite where they got whole groups of guys talking about how hard it is to get a date. What sense does that make? The man who asked out more chicks than he can count, even some he didn't see the picture of, standards are too high. But the chicks that reject everybody to the point where they have whole groups about getting rejected now by men, yeah, they're they're not the ones with high standards. Men don't care about looks; they just want a hole. Well, that's why it was always funny to me when you had people who would sit here and lie and say that men have like what do you call it? Like high maintenance. They want chicks that wear this and that. But it's like I don't know of any guys that how do I explain it? Basically, there's more evidence that chicks have higher standards than men do because we've been over this before. I know plenty of chicks that are overweight that are with a man, but then I know men who are not overweight, but they're not like they're not muscular, and they still get rejected. So I don't understand how people make out that lie. Yeah, it's hypocrisy and double standards. Told you one side gets everything thrown its way, the other one gets nothing except time wasted and being attacked for not being able to appeal to people who have an unrealistic fantasy. One side gets its handhold, the other one gets crucified. That's why I said next romance video I'm gonna have a drawing of me just on a cross with a little thing in my because that's all they do is just find ways to nail you to a cross and blame you for everything. That could be a whole video by itself, just showing all the chicks where they find you amusing for a while and then they speak to you for 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months and they abruptly stop responding. That happens so many times, and you don't even get into an argument with them and they'll just stop responding or they'll talk to you again and then they'll like it's so weird. Remember, whether she's the one that chooses to stop responding because she doesn't want to log into her account anymore, she's not talking to anybody as she claims to be doing sometimes. Guess who gets blamed for it? Yours truly. Rappers in my cities flash thousands of dollars, yet still end up dealing with. How does that work? What happened to the girls in their videos? I mean, they're actresses. Like I could pay a. You don't think I could just if I wanted to, I could pay some chick to like come and appear on my video and pretend to date me, and then make it look like. I mean, like I don't get why anyone even takes a lot of this stuff that these people online do or say seriously anyway. Like I could, if I wanted to, pay a woman and have some actress pretend to be my girlfriend in videos if I wanted to. And nobody would even know because that idea wouldn't even be floated. Yeah, they pay them for their videos, and then after they get the check, they get out. Anyone can do that, dude. All you have like for example, I don't know what country Megumi's in. If I give him, let's say I tell him, you come to U.S. and you make a video, you make a movie where I don't know, you're getting rejected by chicks over and over again, and then the final battle is you versus some guy that defends all of them, and I'll pay you $10,000. Guess who's flying out here tomorrow? Like you can get people to do things for money. It's well known. Don't believe what you see in videos. Like that could be all kind of staged crap too. That would be a funny movie to make, like an actual romance conspiracy movie where it's like, why the hell do all these guys keep getting rejected? Then you find out there's like a cabal of these people that like some chicks and some guys are like actively trying to just ruin the romantic prospects of men. Like they all despise men just in general. I mean, hell, it sounds. I believe it. The way these chicks act, yeah, they pay strippers and whatnot. Yet they have many and fame. You're telling me they can't get one proper chick? Well, unfortunately, fame a lot of times doesn't translate to proper. I mean, I don't know what you would call a proper chick, but that's the issue when you have such tiny, excuse me, romantic prospects that even a man who's famous or is more well known than most other men, they still put up with trash. You know, still they still have to accept anything that comes their way, even if it sucks. Just like I said, I could get 100,000 subs tomorrow, and if I have a chick that is like asking me out or whatever, it's probably going to be some gold digger, which again is garbage. I only am interested in you now that your channel has become one of the largest ones on YouTube, but I totally like you for who you are. Like success with career wise does not equal romantic success. That's another lie that we have to kill. This is why hookers exist, about paying for something instead of waiting a prolonged amount of time to get what you want from a chick who doesn't identify as one who plays around. Dude, imagine how screwed up this sounds. Megumi, you have two options. You can either talk to a woman for several weeks or months who is ultimately going to reject you like all the ones before have, or most of the ones before have, and you'll see this coming a mile away because they say the exact same thing every time. Or for a price, you can pay this woman over the weekend to either go on a date or have intercourse or do both. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna pick the latter option because you get tired of not like, getting anything out of this. What does Drake even have to do with any of this? Listen, I don't want to hear about any Drakes on this channel. I don't want to hear about Drake from Degrassi or Drake Bell. You know, I'm just or Drake from Pokemon from the Orange Islands. Like I'm cool. Or Tim Drake, the third Robin, probably the best one. You know, like let's leave these Drakes out of it. These guys aren't even relevant to this discussion. Brought up all these Drakes. No, they got on my nerves, that type of stuff. Trying to turn this into a Drake stream. People do like bringing up random stuff a lot. I noticed that. I think what it is that a lot of times they just think it's a Q&A. That video really did send a lot of guys into an uproar. I mean, it's weird, but I don't know what else to. Oh, here we go again. So sick of these damn bots. They need to take those back to Michael Bay and have him do his 6 Transformers movie. They don't need to show up on my screen. It was relevant because even famous guys have to. Well, you know, that's the excuse they give when they bring up those other channels. Like for a whole year. It felt like every time I did a stream, have you heard of this person? Have you heard of? It's like I don't care about him. God, like they really try like they made this guy seem like he was what's a good comparison? What's something where like one person is so synonymous with it where you can't even talk about like it was nuts. So I just that's why a lot of times you bring these other people just like, all right, okay. But we already knew that like fame doesn't translate to having success with chicks. Like it's just you've seen multiple examples of that. We even discussed a while ago how like there are all these different celebrities that have been married two, three, four, five times. And they're gonna sit here and tell you about how once you become famous, a woman will appear who will love you for who you're. It's like, yeah, I totally believe in the Easter Bunny as well. Is that even when you have what you suppose well, yeah, that's why I said it's just a never-ending cycle of being nitpicked and you know attacked over whatever shortcoming they believe you to have because all they do is look for a way to discredit you because it's never the woman's fault. The woman is always in the right and is always perfect. And, God forbid we ever criticize them. Like I said before, one of the problems I have with the I word is that you don't see because there are chicks, not all of them, but there are some chicks that do not have that by whether it's by choice or by circumstance do not have a boyfriend for multiple years or they're not with the man and like nobody calls them um involuntarily celibate and tries to say that they hate men. Like you don't see that stuff with chicks no matter, and that's why I said they don't get the same type of punishments and these preordained attacks that men do over any type of shortcoming they have with men, even though there are plenty things you can criticize chicks for when it comes to romantic relationships. Like you can criticize them for letting men that they're not married to or in a committed relationship with stick their little dirty banana in them and get them knocked up. There's plenty of stuff you can go after them for. So it's really sad to have this one side that gets maligned rather, and attacked over everything, and the other one just gets away with everything. Thanks to their plot armor. It's never good enough. That's the hidden meaning behind this cycle or scam. We're going to remember the lie that it was, the level of scrutiny of guys is never applied to chicks. Dude, remember in that 200,000 view video, all I did was sit there and talk for 12 minutes about why I don't talk to chicks anymore. And I had people saying I was too ugly, that I had a speech impediment, they didn't like my dressing sense or my spectacles. They attacked my humble origins, saying I wasn't rich enough to like. It was nuts, and that's why I said you don't see this being applied to chicks. It never happens. I'm still laughing at the like you had remember the dumb broad on Saturday. Uh, I thought you hate all women or you're attacking women. Like man, we're talking about one dumb chick. We're not that like if you like that's the only one I've ever seen that did what she did, and you're gonna try to stand with her. Let's play this 99 reasons or fatal flaw of why you can't get a date. Yeah, it's always someone who's never met you who knows your fatal flaw, who can like see your weakness from a video. And I'm like, isn't that sad that like you are so gung ho about never criticizing chicks that you can overanalyze the hell out of a guy you've never even met. In a lot of cases, never even spoken to. Told you there are plenty of chicks on Twitter that talk that like say generalizing things about men, like oh they're dumb or they're like, and nobody says they probably will never get a boyfriend and they're too ugly to be with them. You know, just like you don't see it. No one's sitting there and trying to play internet psychiatrist and diagnose their fatal flaw. It doesn't happen. Everyone on the internet is a psychological expert. I mean, I just think it's really nuts that like the first I'm not a psychiatrist, but the first thing I know about psychiatrists is that they're supposed to actually meet with the person they're diagnosing, like, you know, get to know them. So I don't know how someone who's never met me knows me better than myself to where they can diagnose me, but whatever. But you know, that's another issue we've run into with like the new era where when people do screwed up things, there is like just or when they do something that you think is dumb, messed up, whatever motive, right? That by itself is never just enough. Like you can't just condemn something anymore. There has to be a whole like past event as well. Like that's why I brought up the thing about the tragic backstory. We have to figure out why every jerk and prick acts the way they do. Like I just decided to ban Akatsuki Merchant out of my stream. You know, take his mod ship away, ban him. He didn't do anything wrong. I just felt like it. Instead of just saying that was really weird, that was screwed up, we have to learn about my tragic backstory, which is going to explain why I suddenly shifted on him, and it'll reveal how bipolar I am, and that'll, I guess, make him feel better about being banned for no reason. Which, you know, it's like why can't we just say stuff is screwed up? Why does there have to be this elaborate past series of arcs and event? Like, Jesus Christ! That just like I was in a server where some guy said some, I think it was either something like something stupid, and then someone was like, "Oh, well, I want to know why he feels this way, and when you know why someone feels a certain way, it can better help you to understand their perspective." But I think their perspective is stupid, so I don't care why they feel that way. I don't. I think the opinion is dumb, and that's that. You know, like I don't need to sit here and like listen to a whole diatribe about this person's past. It's so weird, man. Everyone tries to just make people more complex than they actually are. All these tragic backstories. We might as well just retitle Earth Shippuden. I feel like I'm in that show or that series every time I go online and I read stuff. This person had this happen to them, and you know like I don't care. I don't. All these tragic paths. A lot of people online do that to excuse weird and strange behavior, what a lot of chicks do. You remember what happened with the one that was defending the dingbat with the baby, right? Where she probably has trauma in her background. I was like, I don't care. You like whether your dad or your mom wasn't there for you, it doesn't make you like it's so stupid. It does like not having a one or two absent parents does not make you get pregnant. It doesn't. Like I don't, and it's why I said I know if the situation were reversed and that chick was a guy, you would see no praise. Imagine what it would look like if I had a kid I knew I couldn't afford. Nobody would defend me. Nobody would say, "Oh, poor little Justin. Oh man, he had such a tragic." No one would do that. They would say that deadbeat made a kid he couldn't afford, and now he's ruined someone's life, and he should feel ashamed of himself for creating a life that he could not take care of. That is all. I would be condemned forever because people are they don't have this weird overt sympathy toward men. They just don't. Why can't we just condemn bad behavior without giving sympathy to the person committing the bad behavior? We always have to hear about their tragic backstory. I really do feel like I'm in just a real life version of Shippuden where every person that does something screwed up, instead of us just saying, "All right, what they did was screwed up, that's it," we got a whole like a whole 2, 3, 4 episodes of flashbacks just showing how they got here. So it's just so stupid. I told you that sympathy stuff. You know what? The Koski immersion is as much like that's I don't behoove someone for wanting to know the past of a favorite character because that's fiction. Like, you know, if someone has a character in a story that kills someone and then they do like a whole past arc about them, that's different from a person in real life doing something to you and then you're supposed to care that their mom hit them or their dad wouldn't let them like pee at their house because they weren't worth the piss. Like I don't care. You did something screwed up to me. No one gives a hoot about your tragic past. A lot of people have tragic past and they don't act like this. This character could have literally murdered thousands of people, and people would be like, "Hey, had a tragic past." And they always have some backstory that we're supposed to like factor in for why they do screwed up stuff. It's like not everybody is Pain or Obito or anything, right? Like just they make people who really are not that complex. Like you want to know the real reason to think about what the baby as a kid? It's because she was not thinking. Because you know when people get horny, they don't like use their brain, and she just let this guy run his rod in her, and then the kid popped out 9 months later. It's not hard to figure that out. But that was actually a conversation worth having about how like they try to make people who are not complex. Like they like a lot of these chicks the only time they seem like they're complex is if they're doing stuff that doesn't make any sense with something like if they're just like being hypocrites. But if you look at the actual stuff they do, nothing about it is interesting. Like oh, I go online, I talk to guys for 2, 3, 4 months, and then I'm not actually interested in them, and then I reject them. Like what's unique about that? Like that's why I always thought it was so funny that when people are like, your personality is bland and you're boring. I'm like, who the hell are these chicks? They're not John McClane from Die Hard. They're not going on these action-packed adventures. If I'm boring, they're a million times boring. So I said, out of all the chicks I've spoken to get a date with, I've never laughed at a joke a single one of them made. And if I did laugh at something they said, it's usually laughing at them instead of with them. No, it's so weird. They all like when you like, oh, you're boring. Like, these chicks are boring. The only thing interesting about them is how many STDs they get from all these different guys they lead on a waste of time on. Like what a joke. This character could. Oh, okay, I already read that. That's what happens when you don't write a comment for a while. I might read the same thing twice, thinking that somebody wrote something I was on my tangent. No, that woman stuff just melts everybody's brain. Hey, let's not forget the guys that come up with their own like BS they can't even prove. The mall has been dead since 2014. It's like what the hell happened in 2014? Uh Damn, and that is true because you already are aware of how easy it is for them to get someone. They may have a high chance of getting STD. See, that's why the hooker thing is backed by like a lot of times when people try to discourage you from doing something with a hooker, they say, "Oh, they have STDs and diseases." And it's like, but how do you know regular chicks don't have that? Like, just because someone's not a hooker doesn't mean she hasn't, banged more guys than fingers on both of her hands. Like, how do you know that she is clean? That's why I said that like like they assume the worst of hookers, but they also assume the best of regular chicks, even though they can do various, um, let's just say, promiscuous things. I'll put it that way. I just think it's so funny. They're really like, she might give you a disease. Well, so might a regular woman. You don't know where you don't know where that person's been. Like the teams are spelled out. Oh, the terms are spelled out with yeah. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people do that. They assume the worst of hookers, but assume the best of regular chicks. And I think you're setting yourself up for a disaster when you do that because regular chicks are not uniformic in the sense that sure there might be some that have only been with a few guys, or hell, let's even be nice and say there are some that have been with one guy, but some of them have been with many guys. So like to just sit here and say, oh yeah, no matter who it is, as long as it's not a hooker, that person's better than a hooker. I just can't agree with. You know, just my thing. The benefit of a financial transaction. No, Euro, come on, tell the truth. You would rather talk to a woman who probably doesn't like you for uh 2, 3, 4, 5 months just for her to say I'm not interested, what you saw coming, than go and pay a price and have what you want done in the weekend. Like you know what I'm saying? I don't understand how anybody picks the former over the latter. They're so lucky I didn't have a car when I turned 18. I would that would have been the first thing I did was go over to Vegas. I'm like to hell with that. Because even back then I was sick of chicks. Because I said before, like all of high school, it was like that. In ninth grade, you approach a few, nothing back. In 10th grade, a few, nothing back. 11th grade, you know, um, nothing back. And then you get to 12th grade where it's like you say to hell with chicks in real life because it's been the same thing over and over. And then you go online and the number just balloons and you're like, this is really nuts. They're different from each other, but it's this hard to get one to go on a date. Like, are you kidding me? That's really crazy. No, that woman stuff is just it is a real like I almost want to call it like a like what's the way of saying it? It's just this indefinite sentence that you have if you're a man. Like in a lot of instances, like I said before, you can still get a date with a woman. It could still go nowhere. Like she could just say, "I'm not interested in you," and then right back to the drawing board you go. But see, that's the problem that the other thing people don't talk about when you have such a limited range of available of people who are willing to I guess give you a chance or go on a date, whatever term you want to use to describe it. When you have a limited range of people of chicks that are willing to do that, that decreases the chances that you're actually going to find someone who stays with you. Because every man I speak to says they had to date multiple chicks that to be with someone that liked them back and wanted to keep it going. So if it takes 10 years or 5 years or whatever to get a date, I mean, you better get used to being by yourself. It really does become mind blowing when you consider in the past how casual and easy it was just go on a regular date with a chick. Like I said, man, don't listen to no stupid clowns on this website. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, hell, even early 2000s, there was no such thing as a bunch of guys making groups about how hard it was to get a date. It never happened. Yeah, actually, that's how long it took me when I was in 12th grade, and I met the chick off the computer. And I remember, man, for 5 years, everybody kept saying, "Oh, when you get with a woman, it's the best thing ever, and you get to make out with her and go places." And then all that bimbo did was ask me for money every single goddamn day, to where I just blocked her and made it to where she couldn't even contact me ever again. I said, "This is ridiculous." 5 years of being gassed up about how great and like it was the most anticlimactic thing ever. It's like this sucks. I'd rather be single forever than be with someone like that. And like people get mad at you for having standards. It's like, sorry, my standards include not being drained of my resources, like I'm dating Dracula, like what the hell? Like that was really anticlimactic to just like year after year, people talking about greatest to have a girlfriend. Then this woman is like talking to you for a month and she's asking you how you're doing and acting all nice and all the rest of that trash. And then you agree to be with her. And then the day after that, she starts begging for coins. I was like, this is really nuts. People really said like, yeah, 5 years to get a date. And that was the date you got. I hope it was worth it. Hey, that's how my patience was rewarded. Does that sound exciting to you, or promising, or rewarding, or interesting? That really is just so unfortunate. Again, Megumi, just put yourself in my position. You've never dated anyone before this. This person's been nice to you for a whole month. You've been told for 5 years, ever since the first time you got rejected when you were in seventh grade. You've been told for 5 years that when you get with a woman, it's so good, it's so great. Sometimes there are issues, but overall, it's like this very rewarding thing and it's exciting, all the rest of that trash, right? And then when you finally get with someone, the person who, again, for the whole month before was nice, always asked you how you were doing, seemed like just a generally pleasant person. The second you agree to date this person, they change like that and start begging you for money every day for almost 2 weeks. But again, when you're a man, nobody cares about you. They expect you to just put up with everything. They expect you to be okay with being taken advantage of and never having your needs or wants met. Tomorrow is the apparently the deadline for filing on the ballot for the House of Representatives race in my district uh, over here in California. And it was funny because I was thinking about I kept making this joke about how it would be easier to get 100,000 votes to like replace my congressperson who's already like not even going to be in office next year anyway. But I was like, I remember last year, and because I got really like burnt out from October and then at this job that went nowhere. But I remember last year like calling places and just trying to figure out how to do this stuff, and it was being explained to me like opening a bank account to like have people donate to my campaign. I was like, this all sounds way easier than like the prospects of actually going on a date with a woman. It would be easier to run for office and if not win, definitely get some people to vote for me than get a woman to go on a date. That's all you need to know about how insane getting with a woman is. That's all that is the perfect example of how they have taken something that used to be easy, used to be simple, at the very least used to not require such a years long arduous amount of effort, and they just twisted it and made it impossible to where there's whole groups of guys with the same issue. And then somehow they expect you to be excited at doing that forever. And people really expect you to just put up with that's why I said people don't like men. They have like a genuine hatred of people that are male. Because I would never say I care or like someone and expect them to want to talk to put up with this. Like, why do you have to approach God a number of chicks where you lose count year after year after year after year to just get a date? Like I said before, if it took this long to get married, I could say, that's a lifelong commitment, but which even it actually isn't because people get marriages annulled all the time. But like just to get a date, people want you like to go out and ask all these different chicks, right? sometimes in real life, sometimes the internet, all these other websites, to do a bunch of arduous crap like go to the gym and become wealthy, all this other, and it's like, what does she have to do for you? What do any of them have to do for you other than have a triangle? Nothing. One side breaks its behind trying to appeal to the other, and the other one reaps all the benefits. And we're not supposed to be upset or tired of this or disgusted by them. Again, people just they don't care unless something happens to them. That's why this isn't covered. That's why a lot of these chicks that feign empty, they don't know what it's like. Yeah, so much effort for so little reward. You spend 5 years asking out. I don't even. I think that it might have been maybe like because the problem is I can remember it's like 20 something I asked out in real life, but if you add the ones with computer, it's like you're easily at even back then ballooning into the like 60s or 70s. But it's like you ask out chicks year after year. You get so desperate to the point you start going on websites and asking them out. And then all you get out of that is a person who acts nice to you for a month before she starts begging you for money every day. And then after that happens, you're expected to keep putting up. Like there's a reason why when I did the video, like the most viewed video, that video came out like less than a year after the encounter I had with that broad, because that thing with that broad happened like at the start or like really early the year before that. So like within a year of that, I was like, I'm sick of this because all they do is just waste your time. Or they find a way to like screw you over, even if it looks like you got what you wanted. So yeah, so much effort for very little reward. Just like I said before, the next time I get hired somewhere, because Megumi, we went over this scam on Saturday, where places will hire somebody part time and they say they want full time, so they don't have to pay the full wage to that person. So you like they purposely make it where you can't take care of yourself with that job by itself. The next place I get hired at, and I write on the app because I always write 40 hours a week available whenever you need me, and they don't give me 40 hours the first week, I'm quitting. We're gonna do scorched earth because it makes no sense to keep trying at these different places, keep trying to learn all their different crap if they're just gonna get rid of you after a couple of weeks anyway. So I don't even care about making good impression. Why? So they can say you're a nice person as they're handing me my last check for the third time. Like I'm done. This is scorched earth. That's why I did the start doing the relationship videos because I was at the end of my rope. I said, "Oh my god, uh, I've already been rejected by chicks. What are they gonna do? Reject me for the 92nd time?" Like it didn't. There was no effect anymore. That was why it was so funny when I had that one broad that was like, "Women who watch these videos will be reluctant to approach." It's like they don't approach men anyway. You've lost nothing for making this. Every issue that occurred with chicks that could have occurred with them already happened before I put out a single video. You got rejected year after year after year after year. There was a 4 year gap between the first time I got rejected, the first time I made a romance video. And I just kept it just didn't say anything, just did this. It's like, okay, if I just keep pretending this doesn't bother me, eventually one of them will be interested back, right? Because that's what they say, just live your life and somebody will eventually like you. And it never happened. It was always, I'm not interested. No, thank you. I only like you as a friend. I don't feel that way about you. Every cliche piece of crap you hear in a movie, they said it in real life to me. And that's why I said, what the hell, I have nothing to lose. So I just did the video. I remember back when I did that video, I didn't even know there were groups about this. Well, yeah, Euro. That's why I don't believe the Disneyland fairy tale because I know plenty of guys who have had that are older who have had multiple relationships, and nobody ever told me that the first or the second or the third person they dated they ended up staying with. They usually had to date multiple people to get anything close to a long lasting romantic relationship with someone. So like to sit here and convince somebody that it's normal to just year after year hear nothing back from chicks, I just think is BS. And I knew it was. I told you, I think a very significant portion of chicks are mentally ill. I think they like wasting men's time. And I think a lot of the guys that coddle them are they hate their own gender because they're upset at men that have never even done anything to them. They're like, you're probably this, like it doesn't make any sense for you to be that invested in the love life of another man if you're straight. So those are my theories. I'm still laughing Euro at the gender war. They're like, it's men versus women. It's like, how can it be men versus women if it's mostly men coming on my video and attacking me for not being interested in talking to chicks anymore? No, Euro, answer that. How can it be men versus women if it's mostly men attacking at least this particular man over not being with one? That's why I said it's not men versus women, it's lies versus people. When they tell you that this magic woman is going to show up after 10 years of hearing nothing back from any of them, it's a lie. When they tell you that if you go to the gym, all of a sudden all these chicks are so attracted to you for who you are, it's a lie. No, you have chicks that know that there's something wrong with other chicks. We know they do because they go on. I've seen them comment on some of my stuff, some of other people's stuff. Like other chicks know there's something wrong with chicks. That's why I said it's not men versus women; it's lies versus people. Well, I like my term the best because I think it perfectly sums up what the problem here is. They try to get you to believe all this frivolous crap. Oh yes, just go to the gym and this woman will totally fall in love with you for who you are. She won't be interested in you for superficial garbage that is temporary anyway. And I said, I I guess the issue I have is that I don't like to talk about the way other men look, right? Oh yeah, they do think they're in a movie. But like my best friend, for example, I don't make any comments about his because I don't like to talk about the way other men look. It's not something I'm really interested in doing, right? But if you ask me, do I believe this man is so unattractive that it makes sense for him to have spent, 5, 10 years getting rejected by chicks over and over again? I would say no. And I don't say that because of me thinking anything about his physical appearance. I just know there's plenty of chicks that I don't think are pretty that, have no issue getting multiple men to like them back. And I believe that if we lived in a I guess society where you didn't have to do so much extraneous crap for so little if you're a male that is, he would have seen something at this point. So I'm just saying as an example of how like to for I always the reason I think the men talk about the way other men look thing is so creepy is because when I was in school and even now, like in real life, I see men talk about how ugly they think certain chicks are. So for these guys to come on here and act like every chick is a supermodel, I just think is BS. You know, like who buys into that? They're all so amazingly beautiful, and you can't even. We should all just bend over and lick in between their legs and accept that we're not good enough for them. Like, get out of here. So I said, this stuff is just a joke. Well, Euro, we already talked about how how people are hypocrites. So like a lot of chicks will say they want equality, but then they think the man is supposed to ask the woman out and pay for the first date, and like all the stuff that men would do in the traditional. I already said they want equality when it benefits them, but not when it doesn't. So true equality would be chicks going up and asking out men and like actually liking someone back. Um, But you get it. It's just one sided. That's one of the biggest phenomenons I've noticed from real life and online. I'm telling you, man, when I was in high school, all the guys would do was talk about they thought some woman was hot or they thought some chick was ugly. And like now online, everybody acts like all the chicks are supermodels. Like it is so weird. And it's crazy too, because like I've shown other people in real life, like, hey, I like this woman, I like that one. And sometimes they say they don't think they're attractive. So, like that's the issue with see, because the problem here, and we talked about this before. So when you assume the worst of somebody and the best of someone you've never seen or know nothing about, you create an idealized version of that person. So I've never shown what a single woman I've asked out looks like in any video ever, because that's one of my rules. I don't post pictures of anybody. We're not trying to expose someone with these videos, just talking about stupid behavior. So they assume every woman I talk to is this supermodel. She's so death-defyingly beautiful. And it's like, where do you get this idea from? Like, if I talk to 90 something chicks, and like I don't have a picture of all of them, let's say I did, right? I have a picture of all of them. You're probably going to find some of them unattractive. Like, just you will probably look at these 90 plus chicks and say, all right, I like maybe, I think 40 of them are hot, 20 of them are all right. Like, where do they get this idea from that they're all these supermodels and so amazing? Like where does that come from? Because it sure as hell doesn't come from real life. That's why I said when you want to crucify a man, you will do whatever it takes. How can every single chick be so attractive? There actually was this one broad on Piscord I met, and she sent me a picture of she sent me a picture of herself, and I was like, "There's no way that's you," because I thought she looked like looked really nice or whatever. And then she sent me a video where it was her like showing that she had the same thing in the background. I was like, no, if that's actually you, because it's like this weird floodlight over her. It's like, if that's actually you, why don't you get on camera and speak, and or like then I would know that's you, right? And she's like, well, I'm not currently, I'm wearing my pajamas. Like, well, just throw on a shirt or something. And that's why I didn't believe it was. I was like, there's no way. Because I don't even like sit here and gas chicks up. I was like, that, no, I don't believe that. You just conveniently speak to some woman and she looks like a supermodel on Piscord. No way. It's like that. And sure enough, when she had the chance to prove it was her, she didn't. Or like the evidence was like really, because all you have to do, like if someone said, I don't believe this picture is you, some woman I'm talking to, just example, I can just get on camera. Like, are you so like? That's why I didn't believe it. I was saying that's like an example of that's how they think every woman is. They're all just so amazingly beautiful. It's like, get out of my face with that. It's an obsession with an unrealistic beauty standard, and they associate that with women, dude. But like, I don't know where that came from, because every time, like, I don't get it at all, man. It's weird to me. Get a brain. Like, not every chick is, and then it's like, okay, so that means no matter what I do, if the woman doesn't accept me or like rejects me, you're gonna blame me anyway because you're gonna say she was too attractive. They're all too attractive. That's they're all too good looking. It's really easy to think somebody's good looking when you don't know what they look like. I just can't believe I've seen more men talk about the way I look than chicks. Like, what is that? I'm still laughing at the one from October that did the explicit conversation talking about you're not my type, after she sat here and had that nasty conversation with me for what was that, like 3 hours, 4 hours. I'm like, well, hell, you don't. It's easy to say you're not somebody's type when you don't show your face. She saw what I look like, not the other way around. Because I'm not ashamed of my appearance. Not my fault you bastards have this unrealistic fantasy that damn near nobody can even achieve anyway. Man, I'm sick of these bots. They come to every stream. They're not even writing anything out. There's just weird stuff. Sick of those things. All they do is write weird little messages. Like every time I'm talking, I got one of them writing stuff that doesn't make any sense. Well, remember I said before that like they have an unrealistic fantasy of men, and when you can't live up to it, they lash out. Like I don't know any guys that exercise that are rich. I don't know any guys that are wealthy that are in shape because most of them are old anyway. Like where, where did where did this thing come from that these perfect men are just it's so stupid, man. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a bot. It just comes and writes weird crap and then you get rid of it. Oh man. Yeah, I was woken up early this morning because somebody can't figure out how to turn their own car on. It's like I don't even own this car, but I know how to work it. But whatever, it's so stupid. So I only got about 5 hours of sleep because you can't predict that someone's going to do something like that when you go to sleep at 1 or 2 in the morning. That they're going to wake you up at 7 for something that they should know how to do themselves. But remember, when I complain about stuff, I'm the inconsiderate one, not the person that disturbs my rest over something that they could have solved by themselves by calling the person that showed them over and over how to turn on their own trash. They could have said, "Hey, look, other person is sleeping. I want to wake them. How do you do this?" Made too much sense. They say these things so much in their head to the point they believe their own nonsense and try to convince others as well. But my thing is, if you know that you're going to blame the man no matter what happens, then why should he take you seriously? Like if you know someone is going to accuse you of doing something wrong, no matter what the circumstances were, then why even bother talking? So that's why I said that. Like I don't see much of a point in the conversation with these people because when you are so antagonistic towards someone that you just believe that they screwed it up or they did something wrong, whatever, then what's the point of that person even talking to you? It doesn't make much sense to me. Why talk to someone or why try to have a conversation with someone who is always against you, no matter what happens, no matter what, just always opposed to you. They're always in opposition. Why bother? They hate somebody so much that they never met before. They will accuse them of any possible thing to make them the reason something happened. And that's a person you're supposed to want to talk to and have a conversation with. By the way, speaking of videos that people have been, I guess, recommending. So Shapiro did a review of the Batman, and like people are making response videos. Like I don't know why people are so triggered by that guy because I like political content aside, I watched his against my better judgment his ranking the Batman movies video, and he's just a plain old contrarian. Like he was saying that 89 and Returns are bad, and that he doesn't like Danny Elfman's score when Danny Elfman's one of the most acclaimed composers. Period. Like the guy is just he goes out of his way to get attention for himself by being like just being against anything that seems popular or well liked. So I feel bad that people fell for his troll. Anyways, I'm still not going to go see that movie. I'm tired of reboots. I might wait until it comes out on like DVD or something. I don't feel like sitting in the theater 3 hours for that. So I'm not going to say I'll never watch it, but it probably won't be anytime soon. That movie really had 4 villains. Wow. Spider-Man 3 had too many villains. I'm telling you, man, it's such a joke to see all these other movies have like loads of villains. Then whatever. I'm just the hypocrisy is never lost on me. Yeah, he's I mean, I don't. That's why I said I don't. I couldn't even take him seriously after he said that because there are a lot of people that don't like either Burton film for the story or for the characterization of Batman that he like kills people, which they like to forget about when they talk trash about Affleck. But I've never seen anyone besides that particular person complain about the score. So I don't. I'm not. That was a joke to me. That's how I knew. I was like, yeah, this he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's why I don't even like ranking videos because they're like these really like the problem I have with those is when people make movie review videos, which is like their opinion of a movie, they more time to like explain what they like, didn't like. And then when they make ranking videos, it's like an excuse to say the same thing except not as detailed in a video where everybody can already predict where stuff is going to be placed anyway based off of seeing your earlier videos. So I just find them really late. I know one guy, he's made 3 ranking videos of the same series in like 4 years. And I'm like, dude, you're making the same video 3 times. Whatever. The first one's got like 200,000 views. The second one's got like I think 60,000 or the other. Like basically, people checked out after the first one. They're like, to hell with this. I'm about to watch this video again with one more movie added. Like you already know the ranking before you even watch it. What's the point? Because you saw the first one, you know, and then you saw his review of the new movie, so you know that he didn't like that one or he did like that one. So you know that's going to be probably near the mid tier, lower tier. It's like it's not hard to figure this stuff out. I just can't believe people actually sit here and like they get a real kick out of these ranking videos. Like so many people make those. Like what is the point? Making the same video everybody else has made. That's why I said people are not creative. Like they all play follow the leader. Like at least when I did the top 10 Goku fights, like what was that, like 2 years ago? At least that was something I'd never seen before. I looked it up. I only saw like I think one other person make that. Yeah, but like I think it's really weird to make the same video 3 times in 4 years. Like if 3 movies came out and then you do another one, whatever, that's like 5 years later, or they make another 6 movies, or like the MCU constantly has new movies coming out, right? So when you do a ranking of that, at least it makes a little bit of sense because there's multiple new. For one more movie, he'll make the exact same video a second or third time. Oh, by the way, he made a Batman movie ranking video a few days ago. I'm not clicking it. I'm gonna let that thing sit there. I already know what it's probably gonna be anyway, so I'm good. I'm so tired of these rankings. The only rankings that I like or that like interest me are the ones you don't see that much. Like this one guy made a top 10 comic book movie villains ranking. I was like, oh, I've never seen that before because I've never seen people do that before. Then there was another one was like top 10. I think it was like characters of some like those are ones I'll actually watch because damn near nobody ever makes them. You know. So rankings are not inherently bad, but they are very generic, with a few exceptions, like I just pointed out. The same stuff over and over. No, for that how romance like sets up men to fail video. I'll just talk about how like I always try to look at the other perspective on this because there are people who've never experienced this. Like a lot of these chicks haven't experienced, or some guys, or whatever. It's like I always think about like what do they say, right? And I've seen people in real life and online when they're giving their advice. I'm like, would it be cool to just take every piece of advice that they give you, every generic piece of garbage, right? And just to like break down why each point doesn't work, or why each little nugget of advice that they give out you think is not conducive to actually being successful. It wouldn't be hard to do it. The worst part is when they admit that the stuff doesn't guarantee you, because they're admitting that they want you to do something extraneous and still face the potential of getting the same result you would have had if you didn't do it. So, like for example, you had the one guy talking about, oh, go to the gym. Of course, it doesn't mean automatically you get a date, but you should give yourself the best chance. I'm like, dude, listen, I look in the future. The prospect of me sitting in a gym and lifting weights for weeks or months just to go up to a woman and ask her on a date is ridiculous. Whether she says no or whether she says, and she'll probably still say no, and because chicks reject men, that's what they do. That's their main hobby. But whether she said yes or no, the idea that you would have to do something so extraneous, so time consuming just to get a date is insane. The best chance. He got himself the best chance of getting blocked after he kept coming back. That dude said in March he was going to stop watching me and was coming back all the way until December. Yeah, I love this person that I only am interested in speaking to after they performed superficial crap like becoming wealthier or having muscles. I totally am invested in you as a person. Yeah. That's why I said men are more likely to actually be attracted to the chicks that they go on a date with. Because you don't see men going, I won't date this woman because she doesn't go to the gym. I won't date this woman because she doesn't have a financial balance. You never see it. Dude, men don't have anywhere near the standards that chicks have. I've never seen a single guy in all of real life say he won't date a woman because she doesn't go to the gym. I've never. Not once. Like just the idea alone is comedy. I told my best friend, said I asked him how many push-ups did you do this week. He said one to get out of to lift myself out of the bed. I already said before, one of my favorite like ideas for like a little animated cartoon would be to have a montage of a guy exercising and becoming richer. And what's the other stupid thing they tell you to do? I don't know, like maybe he's taking like some kind of speech class or something, and he goes to like meet some woman at a restaurant. He pulls up in his nice sports car, and then the woman shows up and she's on a bicycle and she sits across from him. And he just looks at her. He's like, you know what? This wasn't worth it, and just walks out. I just like just the like the every time I picture that, because it'll be the perfect commentary on all the stuff people expect you to do for nothing. Because being with somebody like that is nothing to a person who has all of those things that guy has in this hypothetical. Like Jesus, you just have to accept chicks no matter how they are, but you have to go on an arduous quest to maybe get their acceptance. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's appealing. They can make any rebuttal to your point, so of course they'll proceed with their nonsense. Well, I mean, I just kind of accepted that these are people who don't really want to acknowledge when they're saying something screwed up or unappealing to men. So, like it's mainly just to kind of say, hey, we know what you're saying, and here's why it's BS. People don't love for the sake of principle. They love because they live receiving things from others because they're tied their self worth to material possessions. A lot of people have done that where they think that they're worth something as a human being if they're dating like some attractive woman who doesn't even have a bottle to piss in, just all kind of weird stuff. Like I said, most of the people that try to put me down, I always have some retort, oh, I'm unconfident. Okay, why do these guys hide their faces then? Why does the majority of the men that say nasty things about my level of confidence or me lacking? It's like why are they hiding their faces? Why can they never prove they've been with a woman or that they are with a woman? Just saying. Like, excuse me, because I don't come on here and try to pretend I have stuff that I don't. I should have been like one of those other channels and have like no picture and be like, you can't see me right now because I'm driving in my Lamborghini. Like, where they always try to sound like they're so. That's another video that needs to be made about like all these guys acting like, because the other issue with the chick stuff is that they put them on this pedestal as if they've actually done something to be worth all of this effort. Like, we talked about this before. If I saw 50 men trying to talk to Scarlett Johansson or Zoe Saldana, you wouldn't hear one word from me. I was all right. That makes sense. Some of the most accomplished actresses of period. Um, Very famous. You know, make it. There would be no opposite. I would completely understand it. That would all make sense to me. But just regular chicks that nobody ever heard of. Yeah, yes, Euro. They earned it. But regular chicks that nobody ever heard of do not deserve you going to the gym every day for a year or 6 months or however long these people want you to go. And it all ties back into this very toxic idea that a human being having a dollar value, capitalism has ruined our concept of love. I just don't believe in love. Like I believe that people have had it, but I think it is borderline impossible to get into a romantic relationship with a woman that likes you for who you are in in the modern era, because I think it would have happened already. I mean, like you can't have someone who keeps asking out chicks who will sit there and talk to him for weeks and months, and then they don't reciprocate, and he's supposed to think, oh yes, but someday one of them will like me. Like I don't buy it, because if you meet someone who you can talk to and get along with and want to speak to regularly, and you still won't go on a date with them, I think it entirely has to do with your ridiculous standards for what they're supposed to look like. I said before, I think chicks are very shallow, just in general. Like I don't know of a woman I would talk to for 2, 3, 4 months, and then she asked me on a date. I don't think you're my type. I sure was when you were speaking to me for hours on end, week after week, month after month. So I don't believe in the possibility of me ever getting that, because it would have happened already. You don't ask out all these chicks and talk to as many of them for as long as I did, and it if it doesn't happen, it's because these chicks are not allowing it to happen. That's the problem. Because you sure as hell wouldn't see me say, oh, person I've been speaking to for weeks or months that I'd like talking to so damn much. Let me let me say I'm not interested in you, even though I've been talking to you for as long as I have, which I don't do with most people, which already makes you unique amongst the various people that ask me out. I mean, hey, you heard how rude she was, and I tell you, when you think it's finally going to change, or there's like a little tiny glimmer of hope, you put up with a lot of BS. But like I said, my patience for the woman stuff is just it has run thin. Like, so many of them expect you to just wait hand and foot on them for like, and we talked about this before. So many of them do this. Where let me turn close this thing. Oh. Where they'll sit there and have you talk to them for what is it, like 2, 3 weeks? Then they stop responding for first few days, then a week, then another week, then another week, then another, and you're like, what the? It like I've never had a single person I wanted to talk to that it took me a month to send them a message. How does that even happen? And basically the one chick I told you about that said she likes to kill or whatever. She blocked me because I said in my message, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And I was glad she blocked me because then I said, okay, now I don't have to worry about every week when I get a notification on Insta garbage, thinking that it's coming from her that she's finally responded after her 30 something day absence. Like I was vindicated. I was like, all right, good. Now I don't have to worry about her anymore. Another relief. I just was really amused by it because it's that same thing of she wrote all this different stuff to me, talking about how much she likes speaking to me, blah, 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 and then that's what happens when you try to confront her in a subtle way. I read the message I wrote to her, didn't curse her out, didn't call her out her name. That time wasting heifer proceeded to block me anyway. After all the patience I showed, because as we've said before, no good deed goes unpunished. You think if some woman waited a month for me to speak to her and then had the microaggression of saying, "Look, I've been waiting for a month," I would block her. Someone who I claim last time we spoke I wanted to speak to. But again, when I say chicks are weird, people act like I'm, not telling the truth. It was the same thing with the one that asked me that personal question. Here's a bimbo that won't even let you hear her voice. And she's going to try to get mad at you because you told her you didn't feel like burdening her with the stuff that was bothering you. It's like, yeah, it's none of your business. Entitled prick. And then after she pretends to make up with you, speaks to you for like a few more days, then for not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 weeks, doesn't say a word back to you. But she's online. She keeps changing her avatar. She changes every 5 seconds. Yeah, I even have some. She even sent me the picture of some of them sometimes, but that's another story. And you're like, this is stupid. Why can't you'll go on? You won't write hello back to me for a month and a half, but you'll keep changing your avatar every couple of days. Like that's weird. So yeah, I got rid of that one too. Put on my Infinity Gauntlet. Snap my fingers and it was done. I was tired of that. So these chicks think you're their slave, and that's the other problem I have with just modern relationships. It's not you're not partners, you're not friends. You're just a pawn for them and their little thing of trying to get attention from men. And when they get tired of you, they act like you don't even exist. I can show you where with that one and the one that was playing that stupid game on her computer every time I talk to her in a call, I went from getting messages from these bastards almost daily, if not weekly, to hearing nothing back for weeks, or in some case, in extreme case, a month and a half. I was like, this is stupid. Why do I have to wait for this person to write hello back? Like, why does that take 50 days? There's nothing people love more than seeing you fail. Yeah. I already said before, I'm probably gonna end up making like a parody version of that where like a cartoon version of that where I'm on the rooftop and he says that and then I just go, and we go on the glider and fly away and then the video starts. Because I know how to make it look just like it did in the movie where you see like the back part of his feet when he's talking. You and I are not so different. Yeah, they love it. I mean, what else could explain why they do this? They'll talk to somebody for this long. Oh, they love seeing a guy fail or a guy fall or struggle with this. They'll laugh at his expense. Right, because I said before, chicks do not care about men, even the ones they talk to. That's why they can go from speaking to you every day or every couple of days to just not responding for prolonged, extraneous periods of time that anybody would get sick of waiting for. You know, like I'm good. I don't need to sit here and wait a month for somebody to write a message back to me. I don't understand why that's my role. Why that's some like what did I get convicted of some sentence? Why is that my punishment? Because you want to speak to this broad who's so busy, she can't write a message back to you, not for a few days, not for a few weeks, a month. And nobody else thinks that's weird. That's like some like you don't get where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Because remember, your patience is never rewarded. I'm serious. You could talk to one of them for a year and you still probably wouldn't get a date. We know that's what they've done, where they love the attention. They like having a man just sit there and wait forever for them to say something back. They like knowing that you're out there just patiently waiting like a bump on a log, and they're still going to treat you like garbage anyway after they're finished with their whatever the hell they're doing. Talking about she works 50 hours a week. All right, well now you can go work 50 hours a week and not have me wasting my time waiting for your stupid vine. It's really hilarious. They always try to make somebody feel bad because they have regular human um, patience. Like no, like yeah, there's nobody I know that I still talk to that I made wait a month for me to speak to them. I don't do that to people. I might not respond every day. I might not respond. Maybe let's say I don't know. Has it ever taken me a week just saying that? But like the most I've gone is maybe a week. I think, and usually if I don't respond indefinitely, it's because I don't even use the damn site anymore. Like I have people send me messages on Skype. I said I don't use this stupid site anymore. But nowhere where I'm active do you have to wait a month for someone to say like I just think it's weird. Remember, especially if it's someone who I mean, oh, you chose to correspond with me. I didn't make you. I always tell these broads, if you think I'm so bad and horrible, you can go talk to somebody else. Just like the one that was talking about, oh yeah, you can message me every day, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, after she hasn't responded for a whole week or 2 weeks, she's like, you can only send me a message once a week. It's like, Bimbo, it's not my fault that you can't choose to just not respond to what I send you. I'm not about to put up with that. So I unfriended her. Tell you the era of sitting here and waiting hand and foot on chicks and hoping they like you, it's over because you know that more than likely none of them will like you back in a way that is satisfiable to what you want. Because even with the one that was talking all that sexual crap, she still didn't want to go on a date. So what? You're supposed to fly to her country, bang her, and then well, I guess time to go back to looking for another woman. It's like this is stupid. So you don't lose anything when you stop talking to chicks because you don't gain anything when you talk to them, except a headache and a damn pain in the backside. Like yeah, men are sick of that. I don't blame them. Oh, here we go, another bot. They just keep coming. Yeah, chicks are a really just sad experiment. Like I think it's so sad. Just when I just think about it, it's really pathetic. Yeah, more and more men are single nowadays. They're waking up to the nonsense. Like I'm serious. There are certain like if another relationship is either like a repeat of the thing with the gold digger from 5 years ago, or like I tell you, the way that chicks act when you're platonic with them does suck. Where they don't respond to you for a month, and they're like upset with you over anything. I'd rather just be by myself. Like if this is the best they can do, then to hell with them. Like who the hell wants to date somebody and they can't get a response from them for a month, and then they're called insensitive and impatient for waiting for 5 or 6 weeks. Who the hell wants to date someone that what's the other stupid thing they have? Won't even let you hear their voice or won't have a call with you. Like won't even schedule a call once a week or twice a week or excuse me, like every 2 weeks. Like can't even do something as simple as that. Like, hey, I might not be busy on this day. Can't even do that. That's why I said relationships with chicks. In my opinion, we can agree to disagree. Platonic and romantic, I believe, are a waste of time because they go out of their way to make speaking to them very miserable. Um, and they have a character arc of it going nowhere. Well, they will talk indefinitely to you without any signs of progression, or they'll just abruptly stop responding. And then you either have to make the decision to wait patiently forever or to just say the hell with it, which I usually say the latter because I'm nobody's slave. I'm not the damn dog from Futurama, and you're fried, and you sitting up there frozen. I'm just going, can't wait for woman to come back. No, you get maybe 2, 3 weeks to say nothing back, and then that's it. I remember I had this one person I was gonna unfriend on Discord. I was like, all right, they don't respond to me for a month. That's I'm done with you. And I swear, the day before I was about to unfriend them, they finally said something back. I was like, oh, it was down to the wire. You were real lucky. all the way. Why should I care about love? I just feel like nowadays you'll be better off. You don't depend on anyone or yeah, because it's this is not love. I remember that time when my dad was dating my mother and she had to wait a month for him to say something to her. No, never. I remember that time when my grandpa was dating my grandma and he had to wait a month for her to reply to him. No, dude, people were. You know what's funny? You have all these new technological ways to contact someone. There are people that used to talk to each other every month or every couple of weeks by sending them a letter, and now like they would write something, they mail it, and then it's there in like a few days. Now it's like it's even harder for them to say something to you, and you're right there. They can contact you whenever they want. They write something, you get it in less than 10 seconds, and they still just can't say anything. It's so sad. Chicks are so pathetic for just all of this. They're different from each other, but it takes 10 years to get a date with one of them. You have to talk to 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 of them to get one of them to like you back. Like, what is that? Yeah, they love wasting time when they have endless options. Remember, you're the only one who pays the price for it. They can just hop on to the next banana. And people get mad at me because I want to talk. Yeah, because I'm good. I actually have things I want to do with my life, and that doesn't include waiting forever for some random broad to say something back to me. I'm good. And again, I said before, if someone actually likes another person back, they don't make them wait a month or 2 months to have them say something to them. Like it's not hard to just treat someone else like a decent human being. That's why I think it's so sad. But that's how chicks are. They ruin everything they touch. So I'm not even surprised. Anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm going for 2 hours. I was pissed off this morning because this stupid thing with this person. Um, I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm not gonna be able to go back to sleep because they ruined it, and this other person's talking loud here. But I'll do another stream on Saturday, so look forward to that. Have a good day.